Welcome back to the BAIM Roundtable discussion. I'm Professor Lanham, Academic Director for the MS BAIM program here at Purdue. Today, we have 2017 MS BAIM alum, Laxman Puram, who's a data engineer at Facebook. Welcome, Laxman.
Hey, Professor, how are you?
Good. So why don't you tell the audience, what does a data engineer do at Facebook?
On a high level, there are two different kinds of data engineers at Facebook. One that work on infrastructure, the data infrastructure at Facebook, that is data warehouses, platforms that internal data analysts and engineers use. And the second kind of data engineers is those that work in analytics. They help build all the groundwork in analytics for the rest of the folks in the company, that is building pipelines, dashboards, understanding the data, like guiding the data standards and conventions, and helping people understand what exactly is going on in the systems.
So prior to your role at Facebook, being a data engineer on the analytics side, I know you worked as a business intelligence engineer at Amazon. What did you learn from that experience that led you into your current role?
Working at scale. Amazon was my first job after my master's, and moving over from the classroom to a company that's working at at the worldwide scale, that threw me off a little. It took me a while to catch up. So I think like working at that scale was learning how to work at that scale was the biggest thing I learned.
Yeah. Well, we love Amazon here at MS BAIM. About 10% of our BAIM placements have joined Amazon since the program started in 2016. And every year, actually, that percentage goes up. So that 10% since 2017. Also, between a third and a half of the roles that the BAIM grads have taken are some form of analyst or BI kind of a role.
Right. That's actually very exciting. I remember I was in the first batch of cars, and I was thinking about how some of the things that we learned in the program are definitely being used in the job. Business analytics, Excel, spreadsheet modeling, or SQL. Can't forget SQL.
Yeah.
Right.
SQL actually happens to be the number one skill that's tested in interviews for our graduates. So it's been that way the last 5 years, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I guess that makes sense, because today, I guess everyone, like most companies, would store their data in a relational database that you access using SQL. And being an analyst, it's important to learn how to pull your own data from the databases as opposed to like depending on someone else. And also, if you're working at a large company, you got to figure out how to do your analytics within SQL so that your work works at scale, just to make your own life easier. So that's one reason like SQL is very important today.
Well, one thing that we've done here in our program is we've really adapted the curriculum over time. When you were here, you were in our first year's batch. We had a class called Managing Organizational Data that really focused on relational databases and SQL. Today, we still have that course. Professor Kanan teaches that at the very beginning of our program, and Professor Yang Wang teaches a different version. It's a newer version of Managing Organizational Data, which basically extends the stuff that you had learned, relational databases, entity relationship diagrams, and things like that, into advanced SQL concepts as well as NoSQL. So, that's one thing I feel is kind of helped differentiating our students compared to others in the market, is just the level of SQL and database, experience that they gain in our program.
Right.
So, in 2017, that was the first year that I was a faculty member here, and that was when we started sending our students to the Informs Business Analytics Conference. That year, it was in Las Vegas, and it's actually
Right. I remember that.
yeah. So that was the first time I'd ever been to Las Vegas, and it was an experience. Um, but what value did you feel you got any value from participating in that event?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's where I got my first interview for Amazon. Um, so given that the conference is focused on analytics, you will be meeting folks that are working in analytics. So that gives you you get like first person perspective right from the people working in analytics and what it's like to be there, what the work looks like on a day to day, and how do you even prepare for the role. So that way it's like pretty helpful. Of course, I mean you can get an interview and potentially get a job too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's one thing we try to do is I really like getting the students off campus and in front of, the people that are hiring, the people that are doing analytics. You can learn a lot from the faculty, obviously, but I want to get you off campus and be able, to allow students to talk to the professionals. But yeah, I remember that first year was just amazing because I remember like you guys had presented your posters at the poster session, and then there was a career fair, and then we were all really tired. Those conferences just literally wear you out. But
Yeah.
we were sitting outside Caesar's Palace. I remember I got everybody drinks. I remember
My
my
first pina colada.
Yeah.
That was my first pina colada in my life.
Yeah, and we all needed it. And it was so funny because we were sitting outside Caesar's Palace just trying to relax after that day. And it was, somebody's phone had rang. And then, we all got quiet because we didn't want to interrupt them. And it was one of the people from the career fair that was setting up an interview for the next day. And as soon as they hung up, I swear it was like 10 seconds later, another person at our table got a call. And then another person got a phone call.
Yeah. I was the last person in that line, and then I'm watching everyone's phones go off, and I'm like, when am I going to get that? Oh my god.
Yeah, but that was just nice because it was such a long day, and it was not to kind of top it off with some drinks and then getting an interview, right?
Yeah, that was definitely an experience. Yeah, when people ask you how do you get your first job in the US, like there's a story with a pina colada in it.
Yeah. Hey, so be honest with me, and you don't have to say who was your favorite professor while you were here at Purdue.
I was getting that question, but given that I'm interviewing with you, should I say it's you or?
No, I want you to be honest and really tell me.
Kidding. I mean, I was always intrigued by economics, and I don't know. Coincidentally, I did not have a good professor prior to joining Purdue. In economics, I was always intrigued about it, but then never really like getting into learning it well enough. But Purdue, there's this professor. His name is Professor John Umbeck, and I think that was the first few economics lessons in Professor John Umbeck's class. I was like mind blown. Wow, this is economics, and he used to always say axiom 1 of economics: humans are greedy. Remember that, not rational, greedy. So that was really interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm probably biased because of my interest in economics, but a different student in my batch might have a different answer. Yeah.
No, and I'm not surprised by that one bit. So, one thing in the program is students have to take so many business courses in addition to our analytics courses. And every year I hear students, they really love that economics class.
Mm-hmm.
I want to sit in it. I ask students about the classes, how's it going? Do you feel you got value out of it, et cetera? And, I remember one student telling me that, he's basically pulling stuff from all these fields, physics and everything else, and it's all related to economics. And I'm like, really? But yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. He's a fantastic professor.
Yeah, he has a good way to keep the class engaged.
Every year I get a lot of incoming BAIMers that tell me they're targeting careers in FANG. So FANG is Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. So these big tech companies. Do you think that that's the right fit for all the BAIM grads?
It probably depends on every student's personal interests and what their definition of success is. It'll definitely be a good fit if you ask me, but I would also say the important thing is to figure out how to scale in a large environment. So once, as soon as you get in, it can be overwhelming because here's something that's working so well at such a big scale. And like when I first joined Amazon, I was like, this company is nearly 20, 25 years old. Like, what do I do here? you know? Um, but then over the few months, as I learned what my team does, what my sister teams do, what my org in general does, I started figuring out, okay, so this is how we're doing it. And this is how I can contribute. So it takes a while, it takes some patience, but definitely learning to scale uh, is important.
So that's the key takeaway. So I can send this video to all our future BAMers that ask me about this. Yes, we do have a lot of students that go down the FANG route. They work at high tech companies, but if you don't have an interest in focusing on problems that you can scale or provide solutions that can be scalable, maybe you can do some, have some impact at another company that they don't necessarily have to scale in the size of these huge, massive tech companies.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some students might be interested in working on complex problems, and some students might be interested in working on large scale problems, which have a huge impact. I guess it depends on personal interest. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm so glad I was able to catch up with alumni, and we're going to have some future. I already have 2 or 3 other alumni that are wanting to do a BAIM roundtable with us. But we're really proud of what you've accomplished, and we'll be staying in touch.
All right. Thank you, Professor.